Stay tuned for Bobby Moore Speaks. To order any of the books, CDs, or videos offered, you may contact us at bobbymoorespeaks@gmail.com. Our purpose is the search for truth, and we invite you to join us in this noble quest. Any errors of material fact will be corrected if brought to our attention. This is the Bobby Moore Communications Network. Freedom of speech. Use it or lose it. And greetings, friends around the world, throughout the universe, whenever and wherever you may be. This is Bobby D. Moore. When I began the research for this show, I made the mistake of trying to read and understand the book of Revelation. That's the same mistake I made decades ago when, as a young Christian, I made an effort to read and understand the Bible. Sorry to say, I don't find the book of Revelation any more understandable today than I did way back then. The conclusion forced upon me is that if St. John wrote it, he must have been hallucinating at the time. Maybe he discovered some strange trance-inducing mushrooms there on the Isle of Patmos or something similar. Well, while I'm not here to damn the book of Revelation, I can positively state that it is not something that the average reader can read and understand. In fact, I'm not certain that anyone can understand it. Therefore, its usefulness to one who is simply trying to guide his life by Christian principles is zero. Maybe it has some other intended purpose, who knows? But its effect upon me was to induce a dull headache. My purpose in attempting to read the book of Revelation was to learn a little more about the biblical account of the so-called Mark of the Beast. While it is in fact possible to do the entire story with little or no biblical reference, the Mark of the Beast is sure to come. In fact, one could make a very good argument that it is already here. Whether you believe the Bible or not, or whether or not you can understand the book of Revelation, is irrelevant. Unfortunately, those of you who place a literal black and white interpretation upon biblical scripture have handicapped yourselves. Because while you are standing around waiting for this little detail or that little detail of the prophecy to be fulfilled, the world is literally collapsing around you. The mark of the beast is staring you in the face, and you are willingly blind to it. The essential feature of the biblical account of the mark of the beast is economic. Without the number issued by the beast, one cannot buy or sell. That means, without this magic number, you will not be able to engage in commerce, operate a business, large or small, purchase fuel to operate your family automobile, or even buy groceries at the local store. By accepting the number, you are tacitly admitting that the issuer of the number has dominion over you, and you are requesting his or its permission to function by accepting the number. In that very broad sense, you are essentially worshiping the issuer of the number. Think about that. Now try doing something today without a number. I challenge you. Go ahead, try it. Try getting a job without a social security number. Try driving an automobile without a driver's license number. Try opening a bank account without a number. Try cashing a check without a number. Try obtaining a credit card without a number. Try getting a marriage license without a number. Try starting a business without a sales tax number. Try getting an insurance policy without a number. Try getting a conventional telephone without a number. Try getting medical attention without a number. Try being born without a number. Try to simply exist without a number. Then try dying without a number. In today's world, you have truly become a number, not a name. So, what are the reasons for this? There are two principal ones: convenience and control. Identifying by number provides a convenient means for the bearer of the number to do business. and in addition to providing convenience for the issuer of the number, it also provides them with information and control. It is because of convenience, plus the fact that they have been conditioned to accept numbers over a period of many years, that consumers will not reject the ultimate mark. Let me give you an example. There's a supermarket chain in my hometown which offers a so-called thank you card to its customers. With the number provided by registering for this card, the customer receives considerable discounts on his or her purchases. If you have the number, you get the discount. If you don't have it, you don't get the discount. The exact reasons for this scheme are unclear to me, and it's not our purpose today to examine them. But the point is, if you don't have the number, you don't get the discount. Only one step further, and if you don't have the number, you don't get the food. Just think how convenient it would be to have a microchip of some sort embedded under your skin somewhere, say on your hand, for example. With this super helpful device, you wouldn't have to keep up with bank balances, taxes due, or any of the rest of that troublesome stuff. A mainframe computer somewhere would be doing all that for you, for a nominal fee, of course. Not only will the mark of the beast become literally real in the form of a scannable under-the-skin implant or something similar, but the gullible public will wind up paying to be chipped. Believe it. This is a tactic as old as humankind. In the past, executioners were often paid by the one being beheaded to do a quick, clean job of it, rather than to use a dull axe. During the Spanish Inquisition, those who were about to be burned alive at the stake were required to pay for the wood used to burn them to death. Check it out for yourself. Is there no limit to human depravity? No. Does history repeat itself? Yes. This is just one of the many reasons that those in power today want a pliable, ignorant, subservient, dumbed-down public. The handy little implanted device that I mentioned earlier, the chip or whatever, would serve far more purposes than just revealing your financial and tax affairs to whomever scanned it. It would also reveal all your health records, property transactions, and ownership, and, of course, your police records, and much, much more. Those of you who may say, "Well, I don't care. I don't break the law. I ain't got nothing to hide." Now, you guys are missing the point. There were many who felt the same way when the Nazis began to take over Germany prior to the Second World War. They had nothing to hide. They were law-abiding citizens. So they filled out all the endless forms for the bureaucracy and signed on all the dotted lines. After all, they were law-abiding citizens. Then one morning they woke up to find that they were suddenly no longer law-abiding citizens. The law had been changed. Suddenly it was against the law for them to own property, and eventually even for them to exist. It was easy for the Gestapo to locate them with the information they had provided on all those forms, and they very soon found themselves shivering in the cold as they were loaded into boxcars and headed for concentration camps. These were the same good, law-abiding men and women and children who were invited into the gas chambers, which were disguised as showers, and who minutes later lay dead on the cold floor. They are the same ones who trotted obediently into the trenches to be shot in the head by their masters, who stood in their neat little uniforms along the edge of the ditch. Does history repeat itself? Can it happen again? You can bet your Texas boots it does, and it can. Let's take the concept of the mark of the beast to its logical extreme. If such a scheme were to be implemented, just how far could it go? Well, the possibilities are almost limitless. As I mentioned earlier, it would serve as a means of obtaining information and as a means of control. It would serve as a tracking device. And as we have already indicated, it would supply information on everything you own and on every transaction you perform, since buying and selling would become impossible without it. That within itself is control. But what I'm about to talk about now is a much more direct form of control, physical control. With the use of a sophisticated mark of this kind, your physical location could be controlled. In other words, you might have to obtain special permission to take a trip from Dallas to Chicago. Attempting to do so without permission would result in a physical shock or other unpleasant stimulus coming from your friendly and helpful little mark of the beast chip. Or you might be assigned to remain within a certain territory. Moving outside your assigned area would produce unpleasant effects. Sort of like a taser, let us say. Say you want to visit your Aunt Margaret in Ohio. Got to get permission first. Folks, if you're laughing at this, get a grip on yourself. It's not nearly as fictional as I'm making it appear. As usual, the devices of this sort will be applied to prison inmates and other institutionalized persons first. In fact, a set of taser handcuffs is already in existence. If you think that sadism and torture ended with the Dark Ages, think again. It's alive and well today. The would-be implementers of this brave new technology are making the same fatal mistake that the Nazis made. Their assumption is that by brute force they can beat the masses into subservience. In the broadest sense, this is true, but in some cases the result will be to harden the points of resistance. It is these points of resistance that are often the downfall of a totalitarian regime. I didn't title this piece The Ultimate Mark for nothing. Regardless of what some folks say, a major problem facing the future of mankind is overpopulation. Now, my solution for it is to simply convince people to have fewer children. The contraceptive methods are available, and it's that simple. But there are powerful forces which are not satisfied with my hit-or-miss approach. They want more direct methods. In the ultimate scenario I described, a termination device could be built into each chip. The bearer of the chip would be terminated at any predetermined time set to maintain a given population mix and density. Well, after all, it is appointed unto man once to die, isn't it? But in this case, it wouldn't be God pulling the plug. It would be some New World Order statistician, computer programmer doing the honors. My friends, if you think this little exercise in fiction is too far out to ever become reality, once again, you are wrong. Humans are incredibly adaptable. They can adjust to almost any circumstances and conditions. It's just a matter of psychological manipulation. This is demonstrated every day in the military establishments around the world, where fresh, innocent young men are trained, paid, and rewarded to become killers. If that can happen, anything can happen. Friends, I don't like what our world is becoming, nor what it has already become. If 20 years ago someone had shown me what is happening today, I would not have believed it. Nothing could have made me believe it. But today it is before my eyes and yours. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for being with us, and we invite you once again to write for your free copy of the hour-long CD entitled does God exist?